Hello, everyone. Corey here coming in to do the energy update for the month of May 2024. This month is jam-packed with so much beautiful, powerful energy, and it has a softness to it, but it also has a powerful punch to it. It has a lot of things to be enthusiastic about. And I really thought I'd have this recorded yesterday, but it didn't come through for me yesterday. I've been writing about it for a few days, and I didn't realize I was actually writing about this for the past, that it was actually this message that I was actually getting. But the big thing that really came up soon as I start channeling in was I started to see the goddess, the White Tara, and I started to see her appear and started to see this image of the goddess White Tara. But then I also start to see Medusa appear, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And where is this? Excuse me, where is this um in our constellation? Like, where are we seeing this? What's happening in this energy of this coming month? And I really picked up that this month is a kind of sense of enlightenment, purifications. Like, those are the languages that were coming up. Now, it doesn't mean that it's all smooth sailing the whole month, but it does speak about a sense of um, really empowering that sense of inner self. And the world itself, the outside world, is going to have a lot of things happening, but our inner world. And this is where we have the overabundance, the flowing of that feminine energy, as if the masculine is stepping aside for the feminine to walk forward. And that means in our energy. And so it's walking forward, but it's also bringing us to this place of being recognize that the masculine is keeping at bay all of this that is happening around us. And so there's us, there is the walking into ourselves and knowing that we're being held. It's almost as if when a woman goes into childbirth and that sacred time in her life, and it's like she don't want just everyone in there. It's a very sacred time, and not everybody can understand that. but it's that time of where she's giving birth to something that is so important to her, that means so much to her, and that she gets to kind of hold that energy, to hold that child. And as she gives birth to that child and holds that child, there's only a matter of minutes that she has where this joy, this sense of excitement is, before her second thoughts come in. And those thoughts come in of, oh my God, like, now I'm a mother. And then all the things that she's been told about, well, now you're a mother, now life is over as you knew it, or now you to get no more sleep. There's all these opinions that come in. And there's never really that time to embody that motherhood without someone, making you feel guilty. They want to see the baby, they want to hold the baby. And I just remember one day I was with getting my nails done, and my daughter was just after having a child, and the two ladies that I had seen for years, they kind of became like friends to me, and we were talking, and she said to me, she said, well, like, does she stay at home for like a full month? And I said, no. And she said, when in my culture, she said, um, the mother comes and stays with the new mother. And then the mom stays inside the house for a full month because she is wide open. She's wide open. And so that she doesn't take in all of these other energies, so that she doesn't have all this other things, that she gets to fully kind of heal that sense of self, to open and then be able to close into motherhood, to be able to come into that motherhood. And it made such sense to me. Well, that's kind of what May feels like to me. It's that sense of not saying we all got to go hide in a house, but there's an inner journey that is opening up something within ourselves. Now, we do have a portal energy that's opening up the very end of the month, but there's this energy, and it just feels like the masculine energy is standing at the gates, at the door, and becoming the guards, the watch over of this feminine energy. So it's within ourselves. So you may feel your protection, you may feel your protective self come on online. You may feel yourself get a little bit like overwhelmed. You may find yourself like not wanting to share. You may find yourself wondering about, well, what about me? Where do I belong? And those things may appear because there is still the cast of the shadow that is coming. And the cast of the shadow is that deep dive in that is giving us the opportunity to extract the treasures. All that has been rooted up, all that has been, being dug up to be released through eclipse season, through all that's been happening in the previous months, is now finally being released. And when we bring up the treasure of self, is you don't want to reveal it all to everyone right away. You don't want to show everyone right away. You don't want to give, you want to hold it yourself, because no matter how much joy you have about something new, just like a mother holding her new child, no one else is going to feel the same way you're going to feel in that moment. They're going to be happy for you. They're going to be excited for you, but nobody else can feel. And we want so bad for others to feel that. So you may be preparing to kind of start to walk into your truest of self, your happiness, your joy. But then there's always the doubt that comes, the second guessing. Or somebody says the one thing to yourself is, it's like, you finish a new project and someone says, oh, did you see you spelled that word wrong? You ever notice that? You could write the most powerful message, and that one person who finds that one flaw, that one thing that just says, oh, you spelled the word wrong. Well, what about the fucking rest? Did you even read the message, or did you just wait to find the one thing that you could find a flaw so that you would have the rite of passage to point that out, to trigger somebody else to feel less than, or feel like they've done something wrong, or to activate that shadow within another. And so shadow loves to do that to shadow, right? There's always that energy, and it's always exists. It's not that it's eradicated. It's not that it is gone. It's when we learn to talk and face that shadow, and we go, what was the purpose of that? Why do you feel like you need to be that? Why do you feel like you need to be that keyboard warrior? What is behind that? Why can't you just walk past? Why can't you just say, you know what? That was such a lovely writing. That was just such a powerful message. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And maybe when the other one finally goes back to look it over, they may say, oh shit, like I spelled that wrong, but did it really matter? And why does it matter? And where did we get that to be able to feel that it's like it's our crowning glory moment to be able to point out somebody else's flaws, or to be able to steal somebody else's joy? That's the energy vampire. That's being able to suck that energy, being able to take that energy from somebody, being able to just steal those moments. And it's so easy to steal the thunder, to steal the joy, to steal the moment. Sometimes it's really intentional, and other times it's not so intentional. It's unconscious, but there is an awareness. It's the shadow's awareness. It's unconscious, but it's unconsciously aware of what is really happening, because it fulfills something inside. We have so much of that happening this month. We have it everywhere. It is all around. And that's why there's this sense of like gladiator energy protecting this sense of the feminine energy. And so there's a sense of being a little bit, probably feeling a little bit more guarded, feeling like you really want some time to yourself, feeling if you got some new projects that you don't really want to give it to everyone, you don't want to share it all out, feeling as if you've walked into a new relationship and everyone's been wondering what you're doing, you don't want to share it all right now. Because when you share your joy, you really truly are hoping everyone's going to feel the same way. But people come in. It's like when a new mom says, oh, I'm having a baby, I have a child coming, and then everyone starts to give you all the advice about how pregnancy is so great or not so great. And then if you don't feel great in your pregnancy and everyone else around you is telling you they felt great, then you feel like shit that you didn't feel great, or this is what you're going to do. And so we start to create that narrative around self to be something more than you need to be, or to start to worry about something that you haven't got to worry about yet. And that comes up in my purity card. That comes up in the first card. So this is like the beginning of ground zero, is where it feels like we're in a zero. It feels like we're coming through that beginning, that start over. And so I have the whole deck of cards here, but I'm literally picking the card out so I can show you. I did start recording this first, and then I couldn't get the share to work properly without you seeing all my messy screen. And so this is the card, and this is purity, and she's a maiden energy. So we have a lot of maiden energy, a lot of like new beginnings, a lot of just starting out. It's like we're just becoming this version of ourselves, so we don't know this version of ourselves. And so she's rebirth. She is purity, and she's holding that new child. And so this card also has the spirit of behind as well. And so all the women who have walked before, the 7 generations, and just having this, the 7 generation of women before, and so on and so on and so on. And so the hearts, the old pains, the old soul contracts, the karma, the karmatic debt on a soul level. We're going to speak about this a little bit more as well as we come through this monthly message, because it also ties into this portal energy and being able to really truly recognize the end of old karma, but starting new soul contracts and the beginning of a new soul contract. So this is like holding that sense of self, holding that little child of self, really giving birth and beginning that again of how would I raise myself? How would I treat myself? How will I be with myself? If this is mine, I have a right to be able to nurture this, to grow this, to develop this within myself, and to really find that sense of love, and deciding when I will share this and when I put this out. And so whenever there's a new beginning, I always say there's an ending and a new beginning that's happening. And if I refer it back to, a new mom again, is that the woman who was without children previously now has a child. So that sense of old self is now gone. And so often we try to get back to who we used to be. And we say those words. It's like, oh, I can't wait to get back into my body. I can't wait to get back to myself. Well, there's no real going back to that. So there's a bit of a grief, but there's a bit of fear, but there's also a bit of enthusiasm, excitement. And there's this sense of unknowing. And you're walking into the unknown. You have no idea how to be a mom. You have no idea what's ahead, but you're going to learn. You're going to learn. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to mess it up. You're not going to get it all right. But it's the greatest advice my grandmother ever told me was to get rid of the books of opinions that would tell me what time to feed my baby, what time to get her up, what time to, and it's like, so it's the same thing for myself. It's like, I don't, just because somebody else lives one way doesn't mean that's how you have to live. Just because somebody else jumps on a bandwagon of one thing, it doesn't mean that's how you have to live. And that's where we don't want to be in boxes, but yet it's amazing. It's like we spend a lifetime trying to break out of the box, trying to, break free from the programming, the conditioning, the sense of having to create. It's a sense of rules to follow and law to follow, but yet we spend a lifetime getting out of it. But when we're out of it, then we don't know what to do, because we don't know how to think for ourselves, because we've been so confined to this, and we don't trust ourselves. There is a lack of self-trust and a lack of being able to trust that self can think and live and exist without having to be back into a box. And so it's such a curious thing for me in humans is the fact that we get out, and then as soon as you're out, then you want a new box. It's like, well, we better start an organization. We better create a group. We better get some rules. We better get some structure. Oh, what language are you using? You shouldn't use that language. You shouldn't be this way. You shouldn't be that way. And it's like, fucking really? Really? When do we just learn the power of being able to trust? Does that feel right for me? Can I do this? And so there's a lot of eye-opening energy, but it's also a lot of, it's like a smorgasbord, right? There's a accumulation of kind of everything that's happening, and being able to decipher what really is going to feel right for me, what's really going to work for me. And just knowing that in this sense of new self, that I get to be this, I get to develop this. And so I'm taking a first step, the first movement, moving forward, being that sense of self, whatever that may be. And so you'll find yourself possibly, maybe, going through the shift of back and forth this month, because we're also in Taurus, and we're in Taurus for part of this month, and then we shift over into Gemini. And when Gemini comes in, Gemini then moves us into the air energy. And so it's like you could have a change of heart, a change of your mind. The energy is going to shift. You could be, you could finally lock into something that you decide upon. There's just so many things, but we have whatever you were doing 14 years ago, whatever was happening in your life 14 years ago, we have a sense of being able to either return, complete that cycle, finish that cycle. We have there's a beautiful softness, like it's real subtle energy of where Jupiter and Uranus kind of, they do some sort of connection. I see it like connects, those magnetic connects. That's the way I'm seeing it. It's like a magnetic connect. And it's just like working together somehow. And so it gives a charge, and it's charging, but it's not forceful. It's like a soft hum. It's what it's like. And it's got a dancing energy. It's being able to kind of flow into, dance into, step into, and that it's not a forceful energy. So if you try to force things this month, or try to make things, happen from the unhealthy part of the ego, you may find yourself getting tripped up. You may find yourself stepping back. You may find yourself feeling very overwhelmed. There is, like I said, with the white Terra, I feel this sense of purification. I feel this sense of being like the hum, and just feeling this sense of being purified, feeling new, feeling refreshed, but also the step of the stepping into a new place within self. And so, as I said, the masculine is kind of on guard. And so your masculine energy, your logic self, it may start to feel like it's got to protect something, it's guarding something, but you don't know what it is. And it's because we're on the inner self, and because we're open. So there's a level of vulnerability that's also with this month. And it's just like a very open energy. And so you may find yourself wanting to communicate, opening up to people, having those hard conversations. I feel like this month may have the revealing of secrets that that you've been holding in and afraid to speak. Then this may be the month of where you find that you finally recognize that you can't harbor that within self, because all has been rooting this up to come up and out. On May the 7th, we have the new moon energy, and that new moon is still in the Taurus energy. So there is a bit of the Taurus is so loving, but Taurus can love us in unlike the grandmother love. So the way it's like the mother can be wishy-washy, and you can probably convince the mother to do something. It's like you can probably talk over a mother, but a grandmother may be more, have less to say, but says something very impactful and powerful to you that really gets you to change your mind. So you may be a bit of a rebel to your mother energy, to your parenting thought, to your adulting of yourself. You may be like, I'm sick of adulting. I'm sick of these people, and I'm going to run off, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm not doing this because we're scared. We're a little bit afraid. We're in new energy. We're in the new self. And then in comes this grandparenting thought. And this grandparenting thought is God consciousness, a goddess, mother God energy that just comes in, and it speaks to us in a soft, gentle way. And it just says, here's this wisdom. Here's a nugget for you. Here's a nugget of wisdom for you. Here's, if you trust your intuition, if you not let fear override faith, here's what's here for you. This is the opportunity. So you may be seeing that crystal ball energy. You may be seeing that sense of what is possible if you don't run from yourself, if you don't repeat that pattern, if you don't let fear override the faith, if you don't tell yourself those stories, if you don't try to get back to the old, if you don't try kind of rooting up this old energy, and you let things die, you let old habits, you let old resentments, if you let this stuff die, this is the opportunity for your light, for your greatness, for what is here for you to be able to begin to speak to you. And it's really speaking to us in that way. And it has that softness. And it's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, because if you fall and you wobble around, I know you'll get back up. I know you'll do this, but you may have to fall. You may have to be humbled. You may have to begin the journey of walking through the pathway of humility, but you will not walk it alone. And so there's always, it's like when a mother is kind of following the child knowing that the child has to go find out something the hard way on their own. You know, when your kid packs their bag and they're leaving home and the mother gets in the vehicle and follows them down the road, and then you see them turn around, come back home, because they start to think about, well, where am I really going? Once the energy is out, once the tears are out, I'm like, where am I really going? I need to go back home. And then mother just pulls back into the driveway, goes back in, and is kind of waiting at the door. And not with, I told you so, but with, oh, are you ready to come home now? Are you ready for this? And that's kind of how the energy is going to be for us this month. It is doing this for us. And it's kind of given us that we're going to flip back and forth a little bit here. We're going to have those up and down moments. And so this, like I said, this Taurus can have some real bull energy, but it can also have some powerful whys and desires behind it. But who's or why for? Is it for the shadows? Is it for the past? Is it for the parts of us that we're still reactivating and triggering within ourselves? And reactivating the past energy is, we stop, when we can stop appeasing the past traumas, the past stories, the past characters, and we start really truly creating and living in a new story and from a new place. And so this full moon that then follows suit, coming further into the month, well, this full moon will bring us into that expansion, opening, growth, possibilities, which when we expand, we open up. All that is ready to be released gets released. All that's ready to be let go, let's go. And so it does bring us into the opportunity of where the death card comes in. And this was what I was trying to bring up on the share to show you, because it was the card that I actually pulled from my deck of the Everyday Goddess. And so it was the way home. And that's our way. And it's the way home. Now she's in mother energy. And this is the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards that are on my website. And of course, there is a big 5x7 book with big print for us with our old eyes. And so I call this my death card. In the cards in the Oracle, I'm like, this is my idea of the death card. And so the way home is Emi, and it's me spelt backwards. It's hard for you to see. Like I said, I was trying to bring up on the screen, but with the new updates in Zoom, I don't know why it's not connecting right. So it's me spelt backwards and me spelt forward. And so it's when we finally start to walk into ourselves. And because we have this portal gate energy this month that is really opening up for us, it is having those end of those karmatic debts and the beginning of new soul contracts and the beginning of a relationship with the deeper sense of the soul. We're walking into our light. We're walking into our truths. And just knowing that there's such a beautiful possibility and beautiful energy that is coming up. So if I were to step down into the energy of the end of the month, and I'll come back up as need be, but because I'm coming to we have the purity, which is kind of how I'm seeing the white Terra is in my purity card. And then I'm seeing kind of the energy around the Medusa story, which is over here. And I'm seeing this in a new energy as well. And it's coming into the end of the month. And I'm going to share this with you. My screen just went all blurry. So I've been seeing snakes and ladders. I've been seeing snakes and lots of ladders, like, the game, but actual ladders. So I've been seeing that, like the Jacob's ladder. I've been seeing the ladders, and I've been seeing snakes, and the snakes are coming up and they're going down. And that's what kind of brought me into a little bit of this. And I know there's no snakes in here, but it kind of reminds me of the game Snakes and Ladders. Whereas when you roll the dice and you get to go up, then you get to move your little piece on the game of Snakes and Ladders, and you get to go up the board, right? You're trying to get to the end of the game, which is at the top, which is kind of us. It's like we can convince ourselves that we can revamp our personal hell and make it like heaven, until we wake up one day and realize this is getting me nowhere. And I really truly want to get to my personal heaven. I want to get to my joy. I want to get to my happiness. I want to get to the place of where can actually say I've actually healed certain things and I can begin to move forward. And so this is where, and then we roll a dice, and then we get the snake, and we got to go back down again. But if we get the ladder, we get to keep climbing up, but the snake takes us back down again. So the snake is our thoughts, right? And the snake is that part of the self that becomes so, or somebody else's thought that becomes our thought. So somebody says something that makes you second guess yourself, back to the one little spelling, the words, the little things that we do to someone. It's like, it's no different than walking up and just like, oh, you look so nice today, but let me fix this for you. Let me fix that for you. It's like, what is behind that? And so where the Medusa comes into this is that, you know, her back is to the world, but her gaze is into the light, into love, into the soul, into that truth. And so when we look at the Medusa story, as Medusa would have been, the way that I'm being given this message now, I might not have all this to the books, but this is what Medusa is giving me. So it's like, so Medusa really did nothing wrong. Medusa, you know, she really wasn't doing something wrong, but she was a threat to another goddess woman. And because she was a threat to another goddess woman, then she had her head turned into a head of snakes. Had her turned into a monster, into something that was ugly. So she became this monster so that everyone would fear her, no one would go near her. And it was the one, you know, the one masculine energy that came and cut the head off of Medusa. And it was the end of the monster, and the monster dies. And so the monster dies, and when the monster dies, the goddess returns. And so that's our, you know, what turns us ugly? What brings us to that state of not being able to trust? What turns us to be angry at everyone and everything? What gets us lost? And it's the divide and conquer energy. It's one thought, one word that can be infiltrated, that gets us all roiled up, gets us worked up, gets us turning against ourselves or turning against others. And it ignites something inside of ourselves. And only when we can come home to self and we can really truly eradicate that story, and we can start to be able to remember we're here to climb the ladder. We're here to get up, to look into the divine, to rise up into the third eye, into the crown, to know that down here in the belly of the beast, we have a lot of emotions. We have a lot of stories. And a broken instinctual self cannot trust our own self because we're running on the fight or flight, the fear stories, the things that have held us back before. And so climbing up and getting into the heart of the matter and the heart of the story, finding the sense of power and have the determination to do this so that we can learn to be able to trust that self again by then being able to ignite this sense of our intuition. So there's a possibility of the enlightened self, a possibility of meeting the enlightened self, to be able to see new perspectives, to open up to new opportunities that if in the Medusa goddess energy, if the woman was to look in the right place, she would have seen that it wasn't Medusa wasn't her problem. It was the fact that the dishonest husband, the cheating male, whatever that was, or her own insecurities, or her own, and not just a male, but her own insecurities that was creating the narrative and the problem. And sometimes we have to really look at who is creating the storm, the chaos, the drama. Where is it coming from? And have we convinced ourselves of something that is really not our truth? And that is coming up big for us so that we can release, surrender, let go of all of this old energy so that we can begin to walk back and walk the way back into the virtuous self that is not being choked off by the vices that we convince ourselves are the things that are working for us. And so when we look at this and when we see this, and so I wrote down what others call this, because I'm like, what is this portal I'm seeing? And so I believe it's like a silver stargate. And I actually had a silver chain on with this one this morning. It's over there. When I was going, I put two on. I put a silver and I put a gold on. And everything, I was like, I feel like I'm choking. I can't wear the silver. I don't want to wear the silver. I need to take the silver off. I only want to wear the gold. And so I took off the silver, and they were identical. It's just one is silver and one is gold. And I took off the silver and only wore the gold. And so just because we get this portal energy, just because you may find all these write-ups or all these things about this is what's happening, or even in the energy updates, it doesn't mean everything is all happening to you. It gives us the opportunity to explore, to know that this is our space, our opportunity to be able to feel through the energy, so that we can instinctually be able to trust ourselves, to know that if I trust me, I know that I can use discernment in being able to trust everything else around me. I can use my own sense of my navigating system that brings back the center compass, so that I remember that I am not just going due north. I need to get due north to get to the destiny, but to get to my future means that I'm also going to have to walk another direction. So I'm going to have to start to walk towards the west, I believe it is. Walk towards the west. I'm not good with directions. And I'm like, and start to walk towards that future self. And that's where the unknown is, because we haven't walked that path. We haven't walked that journey. And I remember when I first drove here to Alberta from Newfoundland, I had a 3-year-old daughter who's now like 28 years old. And we drove across Canada in a little purple Pontiac Firefly at the end of November with a group of men who I knew nobody. My mother was friends with one of the gentlemen who was driving back up here for work, and she asked him if he would take care of us, to get us here, guard us, watch us. And they did. And I drove across Canada with strangers because I had to make a choice. And I had to choose to leave one life and make some big sacrifices to really truly begin to care for this woman, and begin to really truly take care of what mattered the most. And that was my treasure. That was my daughter, and what her future would be, and what her life should be. And so that was many years ago now. Now at 53 years old, I'm still in Alberta. I'm still here. And I know I travel back and forth and go home. But I remember that experience. And that was not just going the due north. That was knowing, that was an unknowing. And so this energy and this beginning of new soul contracts that is now coming up for us to be able to take these new soul contracts is for us to walk the way that we don't know. We don't have a plan. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know who we're supposed to be. We don't know what we're going to do on the other side of this. We just know there's something that's calling us. And there's something that's just calling us home to ourselves. And while we're traveling that journey home to ourselves, it's in a softness, it's in a gentleness, and it's not about looking back. And my problem back then, and this is where my Medusa story comes in, is I looked back. I looked back. I looked back. And because I looked back, I ended up going back. And it turned out to be an absolute nightmare in so many ways. But it was something that I knew, and I knew in my heart. I wasn't trusting my intuition. I wasn't trusting my instincts. I wasn't trusting any of myself. I was trusting in a lie. And it led down to a path of it coming at a great, great cost to me. And I mean a great cost. But I wouldn't probably be who I am today if I had not walked that journey. I would never wrote down, I'm choosing to more than exist. I wouldn't have gone through everything that I had gone through if I had not walked that journey and that path. So it's not that it was a wrong choice, it was a choice. And we're often at crossroads in our lives. And so this brings us at a crossroad and an opportunity in our lives, like the snakes and ladders, where we get to make choices. And if we look back, there's nothing back there. It is about moving forward. So it's about being able to release the narrative of that, what the past version of us would have done, and what we're still resentful of, and what we still hold on to, and stop trying to make up for or trying to repair something, because the past is not existing. It is seeing the healed self. It is stepping into the healed self. It's moving forward in this healed self. And as I step forward now, and I really see this journey, and I see where this has led me, and all the treasures that I've been accumulating, instead of now being angry at myself or mad at myself or torturing myself, which I did for years, I realized that all the move has led to a massive successful business in, in my old town for years, owning a salon and spa that was successful and big and beautiful. And it was a dream. And then moving forward, and my daughter and her career and her life and her marriage and her children and my grandchildren, and then my marriage and this job and the publishing of my books. And so this is where you start to accumulate all the things that you have really successfully done well in your life and gather those up, and just being able to chop the head off of that Medusa energy to let your goddess shine again, to let that light back out, to bring that forth. And brings me all the way back to this morning when I had made a choice, when another beautiful woman here in this town that I live in Lacombe, photographer, and she sent me a message, you need some headshots. Like, yeah, I think I do. And first I was going to say no, because I'm like, I'm not in my body, I'm not fit, I'm not back into myself, I'm still healing from the back surgery. And then I thought, that's a snake story. I'm going to sink in that story. And just as Mother Mary stands on the snake, is you got to put a foot on the snake. And I woke up and I got dressed in a pair of jeans that I couldn't fit into a few weeks ago that I had bought that were new, could fit those on. I got to wear those. And I just said to my husband, I'm like, I can see me for the first time in a long time, probably not even in this lifetime. I see something of myself again. I see something that I don't remember seeing, it's on a soul level, on a soul level. And on a soul level, I feel it, I know it. And I really want to share this with you, because if you are here now to walk into the black hole story of where the star dies, of where the star has to go into transformation, of where we have to walk the path of humility, where we have to walk into that journey of to not to deny yourself the opportunity to take the deep dive into that self, to go into that self, so that you can start to eradicate and let those things kind of die in that journey of humility and pain, and traveling in to really gather her up. It's like the heroine journey of that self is traveling in to bring back the best version of yourself. It's a journey that's worth taking, and not to run from it, not to hide from it, but to say, I'm worth this. I'm worth this time. I'm worth going through this. I call it the black hole journey, of where the star gets sucked in. And then on the other side, all these people are waiting for the same person to come out, waiting for you to return the way you were after, you've gone through something traumatic or change or grief or healing, whatever it is. And then out here comes this new version of yourself. So a new star is born. And so through this portal energy is this new star is born. And so here's our opportunity that we're looking at a new star. And it's coming through this month, and this portal really doesn't open until this end of this month, which means we don't know what's really to coming forward. But there's this opportunity, because we are being shown that the new stars exist. And there's always the possibility, there's always this hope. And that hope really brings us back to this place of faith. And not, if we can bring in fear so easily, why can't we get into faith so easily? And bringing back that sense of faith and restoring that sense of faith within ourselves. So as this aligns, and as this alignment comes in, is that this is our opportunity, just like snakes and ladders, is that not to keep falling back down into the basement, but really recognizing, if I'm here and I'm working on the level of where I am now, not where you were 5 years ago, not where you were 2 months ago, but where you are from here, and working from here. And then knowing that you are creating your rewards, your reasons to celebrate. And this has been a long ass journey that I've walked myself, that I've been on myself, and getting to this point in life, or where this is. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean it's been perfected, but I recognize those endings and the need to really cut off that energy, cut off of that old story, cut off of that being cruel to self and torturing self and being unkind to self, to really truly hold and nurture this new baby, this new life, this new self, this version of self. But know that we have our own masculine energy, or we have outside support, We also have the divine. We also have a lot of real strong masculine, uh, holy realm, ascendant masters, Saint Germain, Archangel Michael, that we can really truly call up and call in. Gentle, soft Archangel Brachial, who's just so beautiful, helps us restore that sense of blossoming beauty and joy. And as we're now on the other side of the halfway point between spring and summer, is that it's not so easy for everything to come up and break through. It's hard for Mother Earth to give birth to everything, but as everything is now coming into bloom and blossom, it's coming to reveal to us that a new season is here, a new opportunity. And so here we go. And so here's Queenie, and Queenie is in the crone energy. And so we'll always have our good, bad, and the ugly. And we're not eradicating that sense of the shadow or fear stories. We're integrating it in and just saying, I can consult with all sides of myself, but taking that journey over that rainbow bridge and being able to walk over, to climb up, to open up this eye, to open up to spirit, to open up to possibilities and to this new self. And so when we look at her and we see her in such a way that she can truly be a judgment card, right? Like she can really truly, and I did write judgment down here when I was doing some new writings and stuff for the book. And so it's like, and so she can be that sense of judgment. Who is the hardest on us, ourselves? And so to learn to be gentler to ourselves, kinder to ourselves, to be that. And I'm going to read the way card right directly from the book for us. And I know this is a big message, and I thought it was going to be a fast message. It's not. And of course, I got a whole month to share the weeklies and the moon energies and all of those things. So this is what she tells us. I never wore reading glasses when I moved here either, at 27 years old. And the way home, Amy, is me spelt backwards and then me turning around to walk into that truth. That's you. That's us. Endings and beginnings takes us to the same place, but the feeling is not the same. So you may be feeling a feeling like something that, oh, I felt this before, I've been here before, but you've never been in this experience. And our experiences are our lessons. And our experiences brings us our greatest lessons. Whether they're good, they're bad, we're going to be at those crossroads. And if we make no choices and we stand at the crossroads, we'll always be standing at the crossroad and we'll never be doing nothing. And we'll never be able to say we've ever experienced life. We'll let ourselves kind of decay away, whereas we'll be simply just existing. Whereas if we really truly make a choice, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It means we're going to walk a journey. And we have the opportunity that we're going to meet another crossroad. And at those crossroads, each and every one gives us the opportunity to level up, to realize where we have been, what we've experienced in the past, and move beyond that. If we keep repeating the cycles, we'll never build new circles. And we're here to create new circles, not keep staying in the same. So hi, my name is Amy, here to show you that you are more than the one you created. You are the one that arrives beyond the moments of surrender. I am a we and angelic, that of self and beyond. I have so many meanings and so much to share, but I am one thing that is constant. I am light and love. May I guide you to see that the rainbow is the journey and the beautiful part of the experience. If all you seek is the gold at the end, the journey will have been wasted. Your soul came for the experience, not the ending. It has been at the end many times and knows so much more than you about what awaits at the end. Your spiritual journey is not in living out there, but embracing what is here. Know that we will all experience a moment when a human life will be forever ended and their journey as spirit begins again. We believe it to be dark, but if you could see what I could see, you would see that your loved ones have placed rainbow bridges everywhere so that you can meet spirit to spirit. You may just be the conduit to that beautiful soul getting to experience the wishes and dreams that may not have gotten to finish, but you can if you take your loved ones with you on a journey. a life of seeing the power, light, and love in the end to be the ledge of the way, of the end of the way. So this card also has a reverse, which it didn't come out in reverse. So we're not reading it. We're going to read the healing. I'll bring the card back up for us again. It is card 15. It is in Mother Energy because we're not all the way there. We're on our way. And so healing, we have much to share. And here we suggest you seek out the places that feel like love. And that starts with the power of prayer. Maybe today you don't know how to see the beauty, but the divine does. Even beyond the pain, their parts opened more than ever. Ask to be guided to a knowing and a way that embraces with love the journey to being the beautiful you on the other side of the pain or the challenges. That is where you will discover living and begin to pick up the nuggets of gold along the way. By the end of the journey, you will realize you did fill the pot with all the golden moments that had led you to living an abundant life and discovering that you were a treasure. You were the treasure that you needed the most, Amy. And I shall release this energy of channeling this beautiful message as these beautiful goddesses and the oracle of the goddess has spoken very loud and clear about the journey and about what journey we're here to take. And it doesn't give you a clear insight of what your journey looks like. It just says it's your journey. And at the crossroads, we will make choices and we will make decisions. But asking for guidance, asking for love, asking for support, asking for that sense of guides to stand guard as we go inward, as we take that journey. And of course, like Mary, who stood on the snake. Right? It's that we can truly cut the head off the snakes. We can remove that. We can release and bring forth that truest, most authentic version of ourselves. I hope in some way this message resonates with you for this month. Do know that you can purchase the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards directly on my website. No, they're not on Amazon, not yet. We're just selling them directly from the website. This is where they feel like they're best to be. And then also you can purchase the 2 books, which is The More Than Existing, which is my trademark work, and then My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. And stay tuned and subscribe to my website, CorrieThorne-Cameron.com, to get the most recent updates. There is my 3rd book that is coming out very, very soon. It is called Wine and Chips. And I'm so excited for this book. This has been a journey to get it there, to get it out. And we have worked in a great team of myself and my dear friend, Lisa Richard of Loving Energy Recharge. And her daughter, Amelia, we have brought this creation to life. And we look forward to bringing it forward for you all. So follow my Facebook page. All my links are in the comment section below here on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to help me grow this page, grow this connection, because we get lost in the shuffle. So I send you much love. Have a beautiful month of May, and we'll be talking soon. Bye-bye.